Welcome everybody to Captains Quadrant and our Strange New Worlds episode wrap-up we do each week. First thing you're going to be asking is, why am I talking first? Well, unfortunately, our captain here, Captain Dove, has been disciplined for inappropriate use of a replicator. And so, being the next senior officer, I will be hosting the show this week. Welcome, everybody. Let's get stuck into it straight away and have a look at the episode summary.
Transporterklon, oder hör mir zu, eine Sullivan, oder eine Sullivan.
Right, this week's episode, guys, is a charming one, but we'll get into that a little bit further. But it's basically the USS Enterprise becomes stuck in a nebula that is home to an alien consciousness that traps the crew in a fairy tale, which was charming to say the least. But before we go any further, let's introduce our co-hosts and get into first contact.
Thanks.
All right, let's start it off this week. And to the, I feel like it's the right of me, but it's actually the left of me. I have no idea where I'm kind of centered here. And that is the ship's botanist, Philo. How are you?
Good. Moving along.
Yeah, what did you think of this week's show?
I really liked it. I do have some cons, but for the most part, I loved the visuals of it. Oh my gosh, and the dresses, and I loved it. I loved the visuals of it, definitely.
Beautiful. Now let's move on to our currently under investigation captain. Captain Dove, what did you think of this week's show?
Just first of all, in my defense, she said it was okay. At first I didn't really care much for her because these types of episodes are always a throw to where the story can go, and then they wowed me with the costumes because I felt like it was a very akin to the Robin Hood and the Merry Men that Data and Picard had done on the Enterprise and TNG.
Cupid.
Cupid. And I was like, here we go. And I was thinking maybe this is a way to get John DeLance back or something like that. And then they went to this other fray and just wowed me with it. And the ending was so touching that it was like, well, I'm very satisfied. Thank you very much. You've done a great job. Good night. So in the end, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Brilliant. Now, of course, we all need to bow to Sir Jason of Corbomite.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, sir. And if you could honour us with your opinion on this week's show.
I loved it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was lighthearted. I thought it had a wonderful ending. And, on a technical level, there were lots of things they did in the episode that I thought were, very, very smart. The way that they used the sets and redressed them, and the costumes were just great. And I loved that the cast was having fun. And, of course, Hemmer.
Yes. Finally.
Hemmer.
Full Hemmer.
Finally.
Full Hemmer.
Wizard Hemmer. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, look, personally, I really loved it. What my favourite part of the episode is, and I'll just touch on it, was how much fun the actors were having. Yeah. Especially Anson Mount.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Playing such a cowardly, snivelling, kind of character. And he did it with such... You could tell he was having a blast. And I think... I can't remember the actress who plays Ortegas, but you could tell she was really having fun,
Yeah.
But they all, you could tell they kind of got into this, they threw everything at it. So I thought it was an absolute hoot. And yeah, that ending, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm watching that ending and this is my reaction. I mean, that's legit sad.
Same.
I have no idea where that's from, believe it or not.
Sad.
That's from Intervention, I believe.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was.
They told him that they loved him.
Aw.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think, you know what? Let's move into pros and cons, guys. Let's get this party going.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
Pros and cons. I'm going to go back down to Sir Jason of Corbomite and ask Jason what his pros and cons were of this episode?
Well, I briefly said something about it earlier, but I really liked how this was basically a Star Trek bottle show. And if you don't know what that means, it's an episode where they save money by only using the sets of the Enterprise. They don't build any new sets. They don't go out on location. It's just, we're going to be here on the Enterprise, nothing anywhere else. But they went and they turned the Enterprise into this fantasy kingdom by just putting some plants up and hanging drapes on everything and banners. And if I say that out loud, it sounds like the cheapest, most, just cheap. I don't know what word I'm looking for. Just the cheapest thing you could do,
cheesy.
like a
Cheesy,
true, there you go, like a real Roger Corman thing to do. But they pulled it off, and it looked so good. I thought that they really used their sets and modified them just perfectly for this episode. The costumes looked great, and if I had a con, and I have the name here because I always forget how to say his names. Babs Alusamokan, who plays Dr. Mbenga, I think was too reserved at the end. And that's my one con, is that, dude, that is your daughter.
Yeah.
You can do something besides staring forward and whispering. And I love the actor. I think that he did a great job. I love Dr. Mbenga. But I just think he should have brought more to this one moment and really showed us how much Ruika meant to him by emoting more, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yes. There.
Yes. All right, Captain. Do you have any more? Sorry, Sir Jason. I want to find myself getting executed here.
Well,
Off his head.
I was just going to say that it was also a lot of fun to see these actors play characters that are just the opposite of what they play on the show. As you said, Anson Mount was playing the sniveling coward. Mr. Spock was a wizard, which, Spock, there is no such thing as magic, Captain. No, he's a wizard, and there we go.
Great hair. Yes. Great hair.
Yeah, that was a really nice
out of
extension,
Lord of the Rings right there.
Yeah, totally.
And Ortegas and Una just, having fun, just being there. And, of course, Leon, just being an outstanding vocalist with the cutest dog in the world, just killing it as the princess. Christina Chong needs all the Emmys for this episode, just to show us her range. As I am Leon, I have no fun, I am angry, and then next thing you know, it's like she's out of Enchanted. Just I just love that so much.
Is this the pick of everything I've got? Yes, there's
yes.
Yeah.
The dress.
I love that dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brilliant.
Peasants, I am complete. I am finished for now. You may continue.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
You're dreaming about that replicator again. Wonder why you got yourself.
I was like, she was the woman in the red dress. I did not have a lot of cons for this episode. At first, I was like, oh, Lord, here we go. We're going to do this tropey thing. And, it's going to be some type of weird type of alien that's going to fix everything in the end. But ultimately, it is what happened. However, the method by which they got there is what made it magical. And one of my favorite moments had to be with Hemmer. Yes, science, when he blipped everybody. Yes, when he blipped everybody over to another part of the ship so they can move on through to the ultimate end resolution. My con had become a pro because of the way they pulled that. And another pro for me was the fact that they nodded back to Deep Space Nine, Far Beyond the Stars. I thought that was an amazing connection to the very overall soul of what Star Trek is meant to be, a hopeful future and ways to resolve things peacefully and in good taste. So having the alien cure the daughter and leaping time forward so that Mbenga can see his daughter, I thought was one of the most beautiful endings for Star Trek that I've seen in a while. So they really turned it around for me. But I do want to mention some show notes that I saw from watching the Wondrous Ready Room. The fact that they most of the items, including Mbenga's crown, were 3D printed, and they said that the shirts were also 3D. That the uniforms are also 3D printed, and I think that this is amazing how far we've come with technology to get all of these props and clothing 3D printed. This is
the
amazing.
Uniforms are 3D printed.
Yeah, that's what
wow.
that's what they
I
mentioned.
would think they would be really stiff. And
No. So I happen to be working. I work in the fashion world, and I know that we use a lot of 3D printing, malleable 3D printing for sneakers. In my previous did children's shoes, and that's something that was big. So
they're replicating their props.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting at. They're replicating their own props.
Everything's coming full circle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, technology's caught up to the show.
They're going to start saving money by just sending actors to space in the near future.
Yeah.
I think Tom Cruise has already started that idea.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Mission Impossible 5, space.
Well, I'm sure he 3D printed his clothes first, too.
And himself probably to go up.
Yeah, that's why he looks so young.
All right, my pros and cons. I'm going to get into what I thought. Pros and cons. I think I'm going to dig into the end bit because this is where it's a pro and a con for me, and I'm confused about it. So I'm not even convinced in my opinion. But the bit with Mbenga when he decides to release his daughter, and that is the emotional moment that really hit me when he was sending his daughter away. And as he's sending his daughter away, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, wow, we're going to be really dealing with a different Mbenga now moving forward. He's going to have to deal with it. He's going to be angry. He's going to be guilty. This is going to play out, maybe even across the whole season. But then they negated it by bringing back the older version, going, like, you're all cool with this, right? You know, you're a good dad. Everything's awesome. Be happy. And part of me felt a little bit cheated because I'm like, oh, if I was a writer, I probably would have played that out a bit longer. So, but yeah, I had a little bit of problem with that, but I just love the whole joy of it. You know, there were so many good things that were happening in that episode for me, and it's a bottle episode, as Jason said. But sometimes a lot of fun can come out of those episodes, especially in Star Trek: The Next Generation. I felt when they were always so obvious, but sometimes they were a lot of fun. I mean, in a way, the game was it the episode, the game, and the headset. Isn't that a bottle episode in many ways?
Yeah.
And to me, it's one of the great episodes that I used to love because it's dealing with addiction and everything else. So, yeah. Did anybody else get a Princess Bride vibe out of it? Just a little bit.
Very much so with the
Or
book
is that?
and
Yeah.
every time they went back to the book, I was like, skip the kissing.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking it was a Princess Bride, and then I was thinking,
Inconceivable.
It's sick. It's sick. Grand Nagus.
I always regret they never had him say inconceivable on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
yes, it was. I was always waiting for that.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, overall, it's a fun, joyous kind of episode. Again, this feels like the second episode in a row where we're cleansing the palate, which if I was predicting next week and the week after, we're going to be going to some pretty heady kind of areas, I think.
I think the Gorn are going to start eating people.
Based on the previews, I think that you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, I haven't seen the previews.
I've seen the previews. And the titles are out, too. Yeah.
But anyway, let's see what the pros and cons are from our ship's botanist. We haven't done you yet, have we?
Nope.
We've left
not
the
yet.
botanist to last. Not yet. It's you've got the stage here. Go.
All right, so I didn't get so much of a Princess Bride vibe, but I got a theater vibe. I got everybody was on a stage. I loved it. I loved the sparkle. In fact, I think I got more of a labyrinth vibe out of it, just because it was, with the dress reminded me of the oubliette, and I was just like, every bit of girl in me was like, oh my gosh, I want that dress right now. It was gorgeous. And just the scenery, and Spock's hair was just
Fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, how about
it almost rival Pike's?
how about Pike getting a split rather than a peak this week?
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Pikes Peak
Yeah.
became Pikes Valley.
Yeah, Pike's Valley. Yeah, look at that.
He looks so, and they all played their characters so well.
They did.
I'll say that, like, Everybody was really, really dedicated to the episode. But my cons, I have to agree with Science Officer Jason. I felt kind of cheated with the storyline. I felt like it could have been a larger story in the overall story, but I think it still might be. Maybe we just got that blip and oh, we think it's over and they're gonna like bam hit us with something else. But I kind of feel like it's not, and I'm a little disappointed because it felt like such a large part of the story, like part of the side story, the development, and then now that development's over. And yeah, he didn't even like, not that he has to cry, but like it wasn't as emotionally jarring as I feel like it should have been. But
Yeah.
overall, I loved the episode. It was a lot of fun. When Captain Dove said that he was like, "Oh, I don't know if I liked it," I was like, "No, I like it. It's great. Gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Very aesthetically pleasing."
Yeah.
But that would be my only con, is that I wish that they would have done something a little bit more elaborate with it. But I mean, the whole episode was pretty dang elaborate. So I mean,
Yeah, I
Get
could
you
agree
the
with
shit
you.
shot
The-
somewhere. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
the
do
other
have
issue
I
was-
do have to say they gave Ruika a better goodbye than they gave Q.
Yeah. Oh.
Not that I'm
Oh,
still
shots
salty about
fired.
that, but
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, I
oh,
will-
you're
Q was
dying.
like-
That's too bad. Let's hug it out.
Yeah. I don't want you to be alone, Picard. Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
Yeah, but you know what
I'm
you were
dead now.
saying, Philo, about like how you felt cheated at the end. You know, him being so stoic when she went away would have worked for the character if we were going to be dealing with a post-traumatic situation episodes later. You know, him dealing with the fact that he couldn't let his emotion out and all that could have come with that. And that's right. When they do bring her back as older, it negates it. And then it would have been far more appropriate for him to be breaking down and just completely losing it at the loss of his daughter, and then having to deal with the emotion of seeing his daughter seconds later as a grown woman. I mean, he should have been a blubbering mess.
Yeah.
I felt like that was a
Yes.
little too fast. Like, oh, and you're a good dad. Wait, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You
Like,
feel
kind
like
of added to their cheese factor.
They wrapped it up because the girl's getting like older quick, like because kids grow so fast.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe, but you still could have. You still, even though it's not inappropriate that she's out of the show.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
I don't think we're saying. I think it's the fact that we, in a way, they've kind of gone, well, now we don't have to deal with Mbenga's trauma for that situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I would have liked to have them deal with it. Because at some point, Mbenga gets replaced, right, in the history.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I would like to, to me, wouldn't that have been fascinating territory for him to have turned to start becoming somebody who's maybe not as responsible, who is taking a bit more risk, who's being a bit more selfish because he's dealing with the trauma of what's happened with his daughter.
Mm.
So that's what I was thinking.
Maybe
But
that's
what do
ends
I
up
know?
happening,
I'm sitting in a
could be
little
coming,
office
you
here
know?
in Australia, and the writers are in there making money. So
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
Shall we move forward to
10
as we
forward?
call it? I think that's what it's called, Captain. 10 forward.
This is terrible. I like it.
What was it? Prune juice?
Now 10 forward is our open forum where we get to talk things all Trek, and I'm going to lead it off because we need to deal with something that's happened this week outside this show, something rather large and controversial, and that is that one of the members here of the Captains Quadrant, unfortunately, was banned this week.
Oh, yes.
Some statements he made on Facebook, and with that, I've got to please note that we do have a behind-the-scenes guest who's watching very carefully what we're up to. And the reason, and we'll get into it, I think is, yes, there's a very good reason. So, Sir Jason, I think you need to explain yourself. What happened this week with you being banned on Facebook?
I was banned. It was supposed to be 30 days, but it actually only ended up being 2. I was banned for inciting violence because I said something naughty.
And what was that, Jason?
I said that Data from Star Trek could rip Isaac from the Orville's head off.
Fight!
Oh.
No contest.
And I agree with you.
No contest.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Data would beat great value Data.
Yeah,
Just,
that's basically great value, dude.
You have
Wish.com data over there.
and then you have the data from Wish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm saying this as somebody who absolutely adored the last episode of The Orville, and I have been trashing it this season because I'm not happy with the direction they've taken. The last episode was really good, but still, Data all the way. Yeah,
I got bored with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was getting. The last episode though was really good. So I'll give that to The Orville. I do love The Orville. It's just I don't like that it stopped being the fun Orville, the fun Star Trek. I mean,
yeah, that's it. That's where the biggest problem I've had with it is like you found this really satirical kind of lane that you picked that was dealing with Star Trek, paying homage to it, making fun of it, bringing a different dimension to it, and then I watched the first couple of episodes of season 3 and I'm going, who decided to suck all the funny out of it,
I'm Seth MacFarlane, and I'm doing the 8th season of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And then, of course, you got the gatekeepers going, this is the best Trek ever!
Oh, yeah. Those
I did like Trek whenever I was 12. It should never change.
Boy.
And also, let's talk about Hemmer this week. Let's move on from that one.
Please,
Hemmer.
let's do.
Oh, Hemmer, now, we got to see a different side of Hemmer this week, didn't we? For a whimsical, fun side to Hemmer that we hadn't seen. He was digging being the wizard, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like they rebooted his character. Whenever he first came on, he was all serious, and I'm basically like the antennaed version of Spock. And now he's walking around going, science, yes! And I honestly think that I enjoy this version better. I enjoy the Hemmer that has fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was great. It was great that he was obviously, and very good reason why he wasn't caught in the spell as such, or the change in reality because of his telepathic ability. Yeah. So it made perfect sense that it was him and Mbenga who then had to work together and solve it. And it was really, really great. And I think Hemmer is, we kind of just got to see more of him. I'm not going to play the Ode to Hemmer again. I'm not going to play the love story. But this episode made me even fall more in love with him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so nice to see him. And I really got to give credit to Uhura for playing the villain. Yeah,
goodness.
The villainous queen. I thought, first of all, the costume was amazing.
Yeah.
One thing I did note, I love this in shoes, which is what my main life is. But they used ombre in all the dresses. So we watched the Ready Room, and I was like, oh, I thought so. And if you're not familiar with ombre, that's when you have multicolor in the one same piece of material, or in this case, fabric. Okay. And she was the only one that didn't get that treatment because of her queenly duties. And I thought that was such a neat little casual nod there, because she's above everyone else. She doesn't have these little details in her coloring anyway, but they had all the details in the crown, and of course the acting. She absolutely killed it, and it was so much fun to see Ortega sword fighting and throwing down. It was great. They were having a blast. This is probably the most fun they've had in a long time.
We drew parallels between The Princess Bride and Labyrinth, and honestly, Uhura's queen reminded me so much of Narnia, the Ice Queen.
Yes.
So you can kind of tell they were like picking elements out of a bunch of different stories that worked. And for what this episode was, that was amazing. I liked that.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And if anybody ever questioned the ability of these actors, they're just one note. They've just got to watch that episode. Yeah. I mean, the range of these guys. Like Anson Mount. I've seen Anson Mount in Hell on Wheels, and I've seen him, in the really bad version of
Inhumans.
Yeah, I didn't want to say the name.
It hurt your soul.
And then we've seen him in Star Trek, but I didn't realize he had such comedic chops as well, because I thought he was playing a really sniveling douchebag, very much a goofy worm tongue in many ways.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I just loved it. I love the fact that, especially that scene where he turns around and they go, the Queen goes, I'm asking for your loyalty. And it's like, Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's not really a problem, is it? You know? He just turns immediately.
Yeah, it didn't
you
take
know?
much. Didn't take much.
Yeah. And I loved how both the captain and Spock, as soon as there was violence on the table, they both run.
Yeah. They
Both of those
cowards.
characters, as soon as they
Yeah.
saw it was going down, they're out of there. Completely
Yeah.
opposite what they would normally do. Yeah, an absolute hoot.
Sorry, I'm down here doing the Mariner yawns right now. I apologize.
Oh, okay, don't worry. We also figured that you're now hyper aware that this man, because you know he's watching everything you're doing.
Yeah, don't get banned again. He's ready to hit that ban button.
And you do realise that another reason you got banned is, as a fellow Android, he absolutely does not like Android on Android violence.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Probably another reason why.
I need to really watch what I'm saying and not upset the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So 2 episodes left now. Somebody in the chat. Who was it in the chat that turned around and said, "No, I want more episodes"? I think we
Annie.
kind of.
Yeah,
Annie's kind of started that off, and I agree with her in principle, but I gotta say, leave them wanting more, don't you?
Yeah, leave on a high
We're
note.
in 8 episodes, and
Better
we're
to burn out
for a
than to
second.
fade away, you know?
Yep.
That's right.
Quality over quantity.
100%.
Yes.
100%. So yeah.
Although if they want to do a Doctor Who thing and do like a Christmas episode, I would be fine with that.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Christmas
Wonder if
episode.
they would
How
do
does
that.
Himmer celebrate Christmas? That's what I want to know.
Oh,
Does he
They
like
don't
put
have
little
Christmas
antlers
in
to his
Andorian.
antenna or something?
Yeah.
I want to
Imagine
see
that.
I want to see a Star Trek episode where the captain is really into Christmas and decorates the entire ship, and Spock and Himmer and probably Una are just walking around going, "Why is the jovial large man with the beard flying in a sleigh pulled by reindeer? This is not logical."
Yeah.
Well, couldn't they just rework Star Wars Holiday Special? But
Absolutely. Hey, we know that Christina Chong can sing, so she can be the variety acts.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. There it is. There it is.
Yeah, but they somehow have to CGI B. Arthur. We have to get her back.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
we could do it.
I think that would take black magic and a pact with Satan, but we could probably do it. Yes.
Yeah.
I just knew I'd be the first one they'd bring back. Kiss
my
butt, Betty White.
I was just thinking about the characters. I kind of realized that almost every single one of the characters was their opposite. Like, all of them.
Yeah, everybody was.
Maybe the Doctor.
Yeah, maybe Ortegas, I felt she was pretty well.
Yeah,
in
she's
the scope
situated.
of-
Yeah,
pretty
in
well.
the scope of whom
You're
she
right
really
with
is.
everyone else.
In the way that Ortegas is loyal, but she's not like a kiss ass. You know,
Yeah.
like
All right,
she's more of a like, I'm going to tell you you're being stupid kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
So
very
in a
true.
very subtle way, that was still an opposite in her character.
It was the
And,
easy
like-
payday for Rebecca Monet this week, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She was in it for like what, 10 minutes, if that?
Oh,
Yeah, well, she had to
God.
rush over to the CW, drag out the old Arrow suit, chuck that on, and then get back on there.
I am justice.
Well, to Rebecca Romaine's credit, it wasn't as easy of a payday as Bruce Horak has had for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
Go ahead, Philo. Sorry.
I'm sure they probably get paid per season. I can't imagine it's a per episode gig.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
yet.
Just wait. There'll be like 3 executive producers by season 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what's interesting. Now, I don't know if you've guys ever heard of a gentleman called Robert Meyer Burnett.
Yeah, I
big
have.
Star Trek
Yes.
fan. You've heard of him. Made something called Free Enterprise back in the day. He's been very passionately anti the current version of Star Trek.
Oh.
I mean, very public about his disdain for it. And what he brought up this week about Star Trek New Worlds was quite interesting and probably worth bringing up. Is the fact that he believes this current version of Star Trek New Worlds is kind of not bringing anything new to Star Trek. He goes, it's Star Trek New Worlds, but what's new about it? Where are the strange new worlds? We're seeing characters and we're doing situations we already know. We're not actually moving the story in a direction that the title suggests. Now, what are you guys' reactions to that comment?
I have feelings. Well, here's the contradiction of the fandom, is that Discovery comes along and tries to do something new. It tried to do something new with the Klingons. It tried to do something new with propulsion. It tried to do something new with Pike, and then it jumped 1,000 years in the future, something that Star Trek has never done. And what did the fans do? They complain, this isn't Star Trek, this isn't Star Trek, this isn't Star Trek. Which, if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. That's fine. I don't like the argument that it's not Star Trek, because I always check the title and say, what are those 2 words? Oh yeah, that's Star Trek. And, they latched on to Captain Pike, as they should have, because Anson Mount was brilliant in that role. Ethan Peck was brilliant in that role. I'm glad that they brought along Strange New Worlds, but the fans wanted something more familiar. And so they rolled out Strange New Worlds as a response to what the fans wanted. And so to sit there and say, well, this isn't bringing anything new to the table, well, there was a very large contingent of fans who didn't want anything new brought to the table. They wanted something familiar. They wanted something safe. Paramount was like, here you go. And I think to lambast the series for delivering what the fans were asking for is kind of myopic, to be honest. That's my opinion.
I found it very, it calls back to Star Wars fandom of the original trilogy. It's the only Star Wars that's worthy, and everything else is garbage afterwards.
Again, what are those 2 words right there?
He just came
Star
up
Wars.
Yeah, he just comes off really honestly, like an old man going, it's not what it used to be, kids.
Old man yells at clouds. Yes! Well said.
What do you think, Philomena, about his comments?
I'm really interested to see where it takes us, because I know that a lot of Star Trek in the very first season has always been setting the scene, really getting to know the characters. Like DS9, I still haven't made it through. DS9 is the only one I haven't made it through of the older series, right? And it's because the beginning is laying so much foundation. And I've heard so many people be like, oh my gosh, you haven't seen all of DS9. And I'm like, I know, it's number 1 on my list, I promise. But pretty soon here after we move, we're gonna finish DS9, and then we're gonna go back and rewatch it along the timeline with the new ones. So I'm excited. It's another 2-3 year journey. Going through all of Star Trek one by one.
Right journey.
I'm actually very envious of you, because I love that.
Yeah.
When I first watched Star Trek, he introduced it to me. He's like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it my way. We're going to watch it along the timeline. And so I got to watch the original series I got to watch Enterprise in the original series. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was really cool. And then it got muddied there with Voyager and DS9. But
yeah.
It's really cool. That was the best way for me to watch it the first time. So
I think you brought up an excellent point, though, about it is setting the stage. I think season 2, if season 1's just like, here's the Star Trek you guys want, this is what you kind of love, we're going to give it to you in 10 delicious packages. And then I think season 2, season 3 and onwards, we are going to I think it'll be a hybrid. We're going to see things that allude to the original series, but we're also going to see things we've never seen before. That would be my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I'll say to the comment is people are never happy with anything.
No, of course not.
So no matter what you do, there's always going to be someone, I don't like this.
Yeah.
There's always a Karen somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what? Because we've had some glitches, I think we just get moved forward into my new favorite segment of the show.
Yes.
And that is, of course, once I find the actual clip to play. It's time for stupid Star Trek questions. All right, the stupid Star Trek questions, where people ask us stupid Star Trek questions, and we're going to try to make sense of it if we can. Now, we have one being sent in this week, and this is from the Old First Church Newark Presbyterian Church, I believe.
Yeah, my pastor. Woo, Woo! Thank you.
Pass. Yes.
Yeah, my
He's a
pass
big
is
fan of the show.
Yeah,
Always
and
reads
Star
great
Trek
comments.
itself. Yeah, yeah.
So he asks, do they replicate all their clothes or do they make their uniforms? And I think he's referring to the Federation.
Yeah.
Which, on surface, sir, it is a stupid Star Trek question. But it's made me think a little bit. What do you guys think of that?
Well, we already answered this, though, didn't we?
Yeah, in light of earlier.
Well, I mean, in reality, they 3D print everything. But
Yes.
In reality, but in the show,
in the
what
show,
do they
like,
do?
yeah, and for them as
Because you could argue, oh, no, they're replicating.
yeah.
I think uniforms, like dress uniforms, ceremony, maybe, like everybody, it's handmade, you know, like, because that
feel
even
like that
now,
too.
when it's not made on a machine and it's handmade, it's kind of extra special. So, like, maybe the regular day-to-day uniforms are replicated and then they make the nicer ones.
Maybe.
I mean, Garrick would be super annoyed if they were only replicated.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is like you.
I mean, he's got a whole living based on being a tailor.
Yeah, you wouldn't need a Garrick if they didn't make the uniforms by stitching.
That's a good point.
Well, you know, somebody's got to design the stuff, so I'm sure you know it's like somebody who paints and then sells prints at a con. You know, Garrick's the painter, and you know he puts them into the replicator system, and then says, "Oh, you like this one? Well, let me replicate you a copy." You mean I don't get this one? No, this is the original. Would you like to pay 20 times more for it?
Nice.
And the thing for me too is replication, right? Replicator. We know, because they've always addressed this over, that replication is good, but it's not exactly like the real thing.
Right.
You know, when they replicate food, it's like 95% just like their favorite chocolate cake, but it isn't exactly like having real chocolate cake. So I'd assume the clothes would be like that too. That would be slightly off-fitting. You wouldn't feel as comfortable in a replicated shirt as you would potentially a handmade shirt.
True. And now that you mentioned that about the chocolate cake, it reminds me of a Deep Space Nine episode where they akin it to Les Miserables, and that is when Commander Hennington joins the Maquis, the security officer. And he was like, Hennington. He's like, you know what it's like to grow tomatoes and peas and eat real tomatoes and peas, and it's not replicated, it's not synthesized, and people don't realize how delicious real tomatoes and peas are. Yeah. So I would go.
You have snobs in the future.
No, it's not. It's not a snob. It's true. Like, I'm one of those guys that prefers to go to the store and buy things wherever I can. Yeah. I hate shopping online because I don't like the experience of, okay, I got it, but now I got to wait. Well, wait a minute. If I went to the store and I bought it, I have it. It's over. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just really think people were deceived into thinking that, you know, click and wait is faster than go to the store, pick it up, and go home. You're done. You know, and I think that same type of ideology is what ruins society. Because
I love anticipation.
No, I don't.
I love it. I'm like, ooh, is it turning up today?
No,
ooh, I'm watching the tracking. Not far now.
No,
definitely not.
No, not a fan of that because I like to know. Oh, we got it. It's here. It's yours. Goodbye. You know, I like instant gratis. It's a bit of
gratification.
I gotta say, you know, I haven't been able to like get to the store very often, so I keep having to do the Walmart order. And man, I have to wait until like 9 o'clock sometimes for the order to get there if I wait too late. So it's like,
just go to the store.
Even if it's showing up that day, you're still waiting a while. So I can understand that. But yeah, with my Amazon packages, every once in a while I'm like, all right, it's 10 stops away now.
Yeah.
So to answer this question in full, what do we think? Is it they're made? We all agree that the uniforms would be handmade.
Yeah, I think they're handmade.
And if replication is Taco Bell, normal foods like a really nice Mexican restaurant, is that a good analogy?
Yeah.
Taco Bell versus Taco Cabana. Yes.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I've never heard of Taco Cabana.
Del Taco.
We've actually only just got our first Taco Bell in Australia.
Really?
In the last few months.
Is it still meat?
We've seen enough.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I know. We've seen enough media to see what it does to the digestive system.
Oh,
so we weren't in a rush.
That's painful. Yeah, that was a painful one.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up, and thank you for watching. Thank you for sending in the question for, of course. Join us next week for more stupid Star Trek questions. And don't forget, guys, to send in your stupid Star Trek questions. Keep them coming in because we're stupid enough to answer them.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Well, that wraps up the show this week. Is there anything that you guys wanted to add before we go?
I want the dress.
You want the dress?
That's
I
All
want
right.
Spock's
She
hair.
said yes to the dress.
Yeah.
I am saying
just
yes
want
to that
hair.
dress.
Live long and prosper. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this week. We will see you next week. Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to have all this social media video playing, but I forgot to upload it. So too bad. We're not getting plugged this week.
Make sure you follow
sorry.
us.
Philomenia,
Oh,
where do we
yeah,
find
there
you?
you go.
Where do we find you? On TikTok, of course, but where else? On your website?
Philomouthboots.com.
There we
Beautiful.
go. We'll have a link in the show notes for the
Of course.
Yeah,
podcast.
it's annoying as
And
well.
yeah,
So,
and we will
Jason-
have it linked on the YouTube.
Yeah, so Jason, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at jasongaston.net or at jasonroygaston on TikTok.
Fantastic. And currently under investigation, Captain, where can we find you?
You can always
Rig.
find me diving deep, darkly into the dark depths of a computer disc on the Disc Dungeon podcast, which is going to be launching its newest season next month. Super excited for that.
Right.
We're going to be talking about all things music and wonderies there. So check us out. Take care.
Fantastic. You can find me at Pop Culture Spread, a show I do with my mate Rick. And you can also find me lurking around at the back of most shopping marts about 3 o'clock in the morning. It's just a hobby of mine. So
There we go.
until next week, guys, we will see you. And I want to leave you with this again because I love making this little.
Fight!
See you guys.
See you.
Yeah.